Welcome to the Government News Brief for Friday, June 17, 2016. In the news, government dedicated to saving sugar industry, says Prime Minister, traffic task force to be reintroduced, and the first phase of the digitalization of the old age pension database begins. I am Azim Khan with the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. Here are the details. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu recommits his government to saving the sugar industry in Guyana and says that the industry is critical to the country's economic stability. Details in this report.
At the 68th wreath-laying ceremony for the Enmo martyrs, the Prime Minister recommitted his government to ensuring the livelihood of those who depend on the industry is secured. In his address to those gathered, he explained that the interest of the sugar workers is the reason for government bailing out the industry.
It has always been the interest of the working people in the center of these efforts. And so when our government came in last year and this year alone, we have given and pledged $21 billion to pay wages in the sugar industry, to help bail this crippling sugar industry out of its problem and to ensure that it survives.
The new administration is committed to the diversification of the sugar industry to prevent its collapse. As part of the new vision for the industry, diversification into aquaculture, cultivation of legumes, fruit crops, citrus, dairy, and livestock farming are being touted.
We must invest in and modernize the best factories to produce at less cost and to make not only sugar, but ethanol and more molasses for the alcohol industry. We must divest our estates of lands that are no longer profitable for sugar and include peasant cane farmers and agro-processors in the production chain. That is why we must shift to value-added products. We need to produce more refined and packaged sugar.
The Prime Minister advised that sugar continues to contribute significantly to Guyana's gross domestic product, and it remains the livelihood of thousands of Guyanese in all the sugarcane growing regions of Guyana. The government is also urging all sugar workers, management, and unions to work together to find viable solution for the sugar industry. For the Government News Brief, Seneca Thorne reporting.
The traffic task force will be reintroduced to prevent further spikes in traffic accidents after a record 61% increase in non-fatal accidents. Tiffany Rodius reports.
These accidents often occur by drivers being inattentive and using cell phones. However, the police have difficulty in effectively charging drivers for this violation, says Traffic Chief Dion Moore.
It's a difficult thing. If a person is reading a text, you cannot see that they're reading the text. So you find a lot of persons, when they see the police, upon recognizing the police, they'll drop the phone in the vehicle and remain in the same position that they were at. And they will try to contest with the police that they were on the call and so forth.
The reintroduction of the traffic task force will seek to address the usage of cell phones while driving. The task force will also be addressing speeding, driving under the influence, and other traffic violations.
We'll reintroduce the task force that would operate in 4 divisions, A, B, C, and D divisions, especially between Friday to Monday, because most of the action we find occurring during that period, and a lot of these drivers are found above the prescribed limit of alcohol.
The traffic chief is hoping to see a reduction in traffic accidents through enforcement and education. The police have recorded a 50% increase in fatal accidents for the year. There were 60 accidents recorded as against 40 for the same period last year. Speeding, driving under the influence, and inattentiveness were cited as the causes of these accidents. Moore says that the public can play their part in reducing traffic accidents by following the road safety guidelines and principles. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
The Civil Defense Commission will be distributing food supplies to 160 families in the Lower and Upper Maracaibo village on Saturday, June 18, 2016. The food supplies, along with water tanks, were provided by the government. Over the weekend, the CDC will seek to establish radio communication in the community as part of creating early warning systems in the region. Maraikabai Village, the lone indigenous community in the Region 5, was the most affected by recent flooding after heavy rainfall in the region. The CDC will continue to work with the regional administration and other stakeholder partners for implementing additional relief. The Hinterland Employment Youth Services facilitators continue to receive training so that they can effectively deliver the various modules. Find out more in this report.
35 facilitators from Regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are currently undergoing training by master trainers at the Indigenous Village in the Safari Exhibition Center. Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Allicock explains the importance of the training.
Appropriate training is needed, and this will help, we believe, to ignite the imagination of the young people to become more creative.
Minister Allicock notes that making the hinterland people economically independent is the aim.
So that is why you are so important to help that process, to give to yourselves, first of all, and I'm quite certain that you are confident. That is why you are here. Give yourselves that confidence that you could make an impact on the young people. You could make an impact on the communities that you work with.
Additionally, Allicock notes that if the HAZE program was not developed, the talent of the hinterland would continue to be masked.
So this is giving you an opportunity to excel without hindrance, because you will be working with a team and you have the coordinator who is going to be, touching base with you. I myself might check upon you sometimes.
The HAZE program was introduced to help youths and young adults living in the hinterland develop skills that will make them economically independent while they develop their communities. Isaiah Brapitt, Government News Brief.
The CDC will be meeting with U.S. authorities to develop all spills standard operating procedures as part of preparedness and response efforts in the likelihood of a disaster. Details in this report.
The Civil Defense Commission officials will meet with the U.S. Southern Command on June 27. This meeting will focus on what needs to be done to develop a national plan and standard operating procedures on oil spills, says Deputy Director General of the CDC, Major Kester Craig.
Once Guyana start doing oil exploration, definitely we need to have those plans in place.
The upcoming meeting is part of the CDC's efforts towards preparedness and response in disaster risk management and disaster risk reduction. Major Craig says that the CDC has also been working with oil companies to examine their response plans.
We work with agencies such as Repsol and CGX, who have in place comprehensive oil response plan, and we have reviewed those plans to ensure that they're keeping with our national plans and policies.
Guyana has a national disaster risk reduction platform that works with stakeholders to develop national disaster risk reduction programs as part of reducing the impact of these in the country. For the Government News Brief, Paul McAdam.
The first phase of the digitization process of the distribution of old age pensions has begun. This initiative will eliminate the use of pension books and create a system where senior citizens will be allowed to use their ID cards to uplift their pensions. According to Minister of Social Protection Valda Lawrence, this phase includes the establishment of a list of persons who are eligible for old age pensions.
Too much writing is being done, and as a result of that being done, the loopholes in the system are enormous. And so we have to ensure that we can get that done as quickly as possible. We're at one stage already. We've completed stage 1. We've moved to stage 2. And very soon you'll be hearing about it, because it's such a sensitive issue. It's not that I want to withhold information, but it is very sensitive, very sensitive. And our intention is to ensure that we have a list of pensioners who fit the criteria of the law.
In the interim, senior citizens who are disabled have been issued pension books for 1 year. That concludes today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on our website. Stay updated, subscribe to our website and YouTube channel, and follow us on Facebook. The Government News Brief is a production of GINA. Do join us again on Monday for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.